Hello everyone, welcome to Dreams to Reality, a podcast where we're interviewing entrepreneurs and putting them on the globe and also getting an authentic experience as to where they were and how they made it to where they are now. Everyone, welcome Christina Ivette to the very first episode of Dreams to Reality. What can I say? She's an incredible woman, mentor, mom. I want to believe you have about 7 figures. Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, she's got 7-figure earner, multiple streams of income. So we're gonna dive deep into all that. But I definitely want to start on the topic and the core of this podcast, which is entrepreneurship. So what would you say is your definition of entrepreneurship?
Well, thank you for inviting me on this podcast. I'm super duper excited to be here. So as far as entrepreneurship, what is my core beliefs?
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So I think that entrepreneurship is a necessity for everyone. And I think that it's like a life or death move. Because if you want to be financially free, if you want to have time freedom, location freedom, you cannot do that being an employee or trading your time for money. So the only thing that can truly give you time freedom, that can truly give you financial freedom, is becoming an entrepreneur. And so that's why it was very important for me early on, after graduating from college, to start a business as soon as I can.
Okay, well, what was that turning point for you? Because I want to believe that you were like, I out of college, I have to get a good trade, I need a degree. And then from there, I can earn whatever I need to earn after putting in some time into this industry. I'm going to reap my rewards. I can, go ahead and have this. And you said you were in nursing, if I'm not mistaken. So nursing pays pretty well. So
yeah,
I'm believing your theory was I go into nursing, I start earning what I need to earn, I have the freedom to do whatever I want to do, and then you hit a roadblock. So I want to know that turning point for you mentally. Where was that turning point? You felt like, okay, I need more.
Yes. So honestly, entrepreneurship has always been inside me.
Okay.
When I got my first job, I was 14 years old. I was working at McDonald's. And as a 14-year-old working at McDonald's, you are at a cash register and you're not thinking about, you're thinking about making money. You're not thinking about your future. But me, as a 14-year-old, I was thinking, how can I own this McDonald's? I was thinking about entrepreneurship. I was asking the store managers about franchising. What do I need to do in order to franchise a McDonald's at 14 years old? So I knew that there was something inside of me that was destined to be a business owner and an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. But what really fueled me and motivated me, that put that fire, is watching my parents struggle.
I was going to ask you your why, because I know there was a why. At 14, That's pretty young.
Yes, and honestly, my parents have struggled my entire life. So we were living in Section 8.
Wow.
We were homeless, living in an abandoned building when I was 14 working at McDonald's. So those things fueled me to want a better life. And it fueled me to know, okay, the grass is greener on the other side. I just have to get there.
So you chose nursing as a default to not having the exposure to what it is you're doing now, correct?
Yes, so I knew that I had to get an education. And I'm not saying that a college degree is the end all be all. That's not what I'm saying. But I knew that I needed to learn more than what a high school diploma could give me. Mm-hmm. And I knew that I needed to earn a good living in order to be able to save to open up a business. So entrepreneurship was always my goal, but I knew that I needed to have a career. So I went to college and I started off thinking, oh, pharmacy was the way. And after,
I mean, there is big money in pharma now.
yeah, there is. But that was a rude awakening when I took all those science classes. So I decided on nursing. And I got my degree in nursing because I knew that I could earn, you know, a substantial living so that I could, one, provide for myself, and two, save up so that I could open up a business one day. And I didn't know what the business was going to be, but I just knew that I wanted a business. And at that time, I always had in the back of my mind franchising, always, just because I did a lot of fast food and it seemed like a good business model to me. So I'm like, okay, well, I need to save $250,000 so I can put down so that I can have my franchise.
But then that changed for you.
Yes.
Later on.
Yeah,
Let's talk about that.
So after graduating from nursing and starting off being a new grad nurse, it was hard. It was absolutely hard, and I just quickly knew that I could not do nursing for a long period of time because I had to do a lot of overtime. They gave me, you know, a lot of patients. Like usually average you would get like 6 patients. I, as a new nurse, would get 8 patients.
Wow.
So it was extremely stressful, and I knew that I had to get out. And so what I ended up doing was saving as much money as I could. I ended up saving about $25,000 in my first 2 years of nursing because I was only making $21 an hour.
Okay.
And at that point, I was driving down the road and a radio commercial came on, and the commercial said, "Do you want to learn how to flip houses? Well, come to this seminar this weekend in your local city." And I said, okay. And I quickly turned into a parking lot, got the number, called, and said, I want to go to this real estate seminar. And I was so excited. I went to the real estate seminar. It was about only 2 hours, and they, did like an upsell. They're like, okay, well, here is the basic information, but if you really want to know more information, you have to come to this 3-hour workshop that we have, or not 3 hour, 3 day, a 3-day workshop. And you can bring, whoever you want for free. And I said, okay, well, this is golden. And so I paid $200. And a month later, I went to this 3-day workshop, and it was all day. It was like 9 to 5, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Why weren't you, sorry to cut you off, but why weren't you deterred by investing in yourself? Because some people may say, okay, well, this is just some big hoopla. You just want my money. Why am I going to pay you $200 to attend a workshop? But you had already had a different mindset going in. So why were you so eager to invest that $200? You didn't know the person, you didn't know the company, you just took a risk. Why was that?
Well, I knew that they could teach me more than I already knew. At that point, I didn't know anything about real estate investing. All I knew is that I really liked real estate because my dad did it growing up. So I'm like, okay, I love houses, and I think that I could flip some houses. And the person who was hosting the seminar was on reality TV. So he was on this show called Flip This House. And so, it was a big marketing thing, I understand. But he wasn't the one who actually, presented at the seminar. But I said, okay, well, I see this guy on TV. He's doing all this, renovating and stuff. I can do that too. So let me, what do I have to lose? Let me go to the seminar and see what I can learn. And honestly, $200 was not a big investment. That's small time. So I was determined to find out, because I knew in 3 days, there's one thing that I'm going to learn that's going to propel me into becoming a real estate investor. It was worth it. So I paid the $200 and went to the seminar. And it was the best experience that I ever had. Honestly, I had a notebook. I was taking.
You went prepared.
Absolutely. I knew that I was going to learn the fundamentals. And I did. In those 3 days, I learned enough. And that was in January. I ended up getting my first real estate deal in September.
Wow.
Yeah, of the same year. So that was exciting to me. I was doing all of the due diligence. After that seminar, it fueled me. It was so motivating. I had like fire on my ass. And I did a bunch of research. I went back home. I started watching all the YouTube videos on real estate investing. I started watching those shows on HGTV because even though they are built for entertainment, you learn a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of learning factors on it.
lot.
And a lot of tips.
Yes.
Loaded with tips.
Yes, a lot of tips. And so I honestly felt like an expert before I even got into real estate investing.
And that's because you invested in yourself.
Yes.
You invested the time. And of course, you made that initial investment of just getting the information. So you were like, you know what do I have to lose? I'm going to pay this money. And the win for me by investing this $200 is going to be the knowledge. And then you went ahead and you applied that knowledge.
Yes.
So good for you.
Yes.
So now you know, because I know you, I'm going to ask you some tricky things here.
Oh, I'm all
So
for it.
I do know that you're a mom.
Yes.
How are you juggling being a boss, running multiple businesses, balancing being a mom and a wife? How does that all work out for you on day to day?
Yeah, so being a mom is like very rewarding to me. I have 3 kids, 10, 3, and 2, and they are extremely demanding. And so honestly, for me to keep my head on my neck, I have to carve out specific time for business and specific time for momness and specific time for, for being a wife as well. So I have to really, designate, certain times of the day. So for example, my son, he's in 4th grade. So he goes to school from 8 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So I know that while he's in school, I could be getting a lot of work done because he's doing his work in school. So I need to be doing my work at home. And so between those hours are my hours. So I created my hours in order for me to be able to drop him off to school, have a balanced, healthy breakfast. I said, okay, I can do that from 8 to 9, and then I can start working at 10. And so I set my hours to be from 10 to 2 or 10 to 2:30. And after 2:30, I cut it off. I'm done working for the day so that I can go pick up my son at 3 o'clock. And my little two kids, 2-year-old and 3-year-old, initially they were being babysat by my parents. But I knew that I had to give them structure as well. So I decided to put them in preschool, and they were going to have the same schedule as my son that's in 4th grade. So they go to school from, 8:30 to 3 o'clock as well.
Okay.
And while they are in school learning another language, doing everything that they need to do, I am using that time to dedicate to my business and to run my business. And I felt like, time management was really the most important key factor, because before I put my children in preschool, the young ones, it was like chaos. Honestly, it was like, it was like the house was a zoo, honestly, because they didn't have a schedule. So they woke up whatever time they wanted, they ate breakfast whatever time they wanted, they did their learning and stuff like that whatever time they wanted. So
That's
it wasn't
juggling.
Yeah, it was very challenging. So I said, if I don't structure a schedule for the kids, I will never have a structured schedule for myself. And so I needed to make that an important part, of my day in order for me to be able to really manage my business the right way. Because if I didn't have time to dedicate to my business every single day, just a few hours, then my business would be out of control. So it was very, very important for me.
So how does self-care fit into all that? I heard finding time for your husband, of course kids coming first, making time for your business, but then Christina still needs care. And I do believe that when you decide to have a business, a lot of times it's 24 hours, depending on what it is of course, what industry you're in, so to speak. So how do you find time to balance Christina amongst all of these other things? Because being a mom, let's just admit, that is a full-time job.
Yes, it is. It sure
So how
is.
do you find time for Christina in all this?
So I dedicate one day a week to, and it's not the entire day, but it's a few hours within that day, but that day is dedicated to me and the things that I need done for myself. And I know that a lot of you guys have heard about it. It's on Sundays, it's self-care Sundays. So another one of my friends, she really, instilled that in me, because she primarily does yoga and, a bunch of meditation and affirmations and stuff, primarily on Sundays. And, I do the meditations every single day, but on Sundays, anything that I need done for Christina, I do it. So I don't work on Sundays. On Sundays, I listen to the word, and then after that, it's a free-for-all. So if I need my hair done, I go get it. If I need my nails done, I go get it. If I want to go eat out, if I want a little date with my husband, whatever it is, it's on Sundays. Because Sunday is absolutely open schedule. There's nothing on the table for me to do. I'm not a mom, not a wife, not any of those things for those few hours that I need for me time. And it's so important, because if you don't have that me time, then you could get lost. Like, we could get lost in the day-to-day, and then that's when you start noticing, hey, like, I'm not living. Like, I'm not happy, or, I haven't gotten my hair done in,
Yeah, it takes a toll on you.
Yeah, it does,
Yeah.
and you don't notice till, months down the line.
That is one thing that I have admired with you getting to know you over time, is that you really do make that like the most important thing. Like, hey, I was Christina before I became a wife, before I had my children, and before I became a boss lady. And I love that you maintain that. So I just wanted to go ahead and put that on here, because I feel like it's so important, especially in the early stages of entrepreneurship. It can be so overwhelming that it is so important to remember who you are. Don't get lost in deadlines, don't get lost in tasks, but also taking time out. Like, it's so important. Even with people that do everyday work, and they get paid, and they're just consumers. They don't pay themselves,
Yeah.
You go out, you work so hard, you're paying the person that's putting the roof over your head, or you're paying the mortgage people for giving you that money for your loan. So I definitely wanted to make that a point, because it is so important to just not get lost in all this, because once you start achieving, I think it's hard to go back from that.
Right.
You attain one goal and you want to get the next one and the next one and the next one. But finding balance and having that is so important with entrepreneurship.
You gotta have balance.
Definitely.
You really do. And something that you had mentioned earlier is about entrepreneurship 24/7, like it doesn't turn off. That is so true. I was, scrolling through social media the other day, and there was a reel. And the girl said, I quit my 9 to 5 to start a business, and now I work 24/7, and I don't have a day off, because she's a solopreneur. And so, I think that it's so important that you have to have time off, even though you're running a business.
And that goes back
You
to
have
structure.
to. Yes, you have to. You have to. You have to set a schedule. You have to. Those things are vitally important. And don't think that you are supposed to do everything yourself. Like your business, I understand that it probably depends on you and you are the CEO and you're operating the business, but you have to be able to delegate and you have to be able to outsource things that you need done in order for you to have that time freedom too.
Let's dive a little bit deeper into that.
Yeah.
Outsourcing how?
So when it comes to running your business, I understand that you can do everything, right?
Absolutely.
So you can be the secretary, you can be, answering the calls,
Doing
you
the
could
mail.
be, yes, exactly, doing all of this stuff. But let's be honest, as the CEO of your company, your time is best utilized with you working on the business, not inside of the business. So if you need to outsource those small things like answering emails, anybody can do that. You don't have to answer emails. You don't have to be the customer service representative in your business. You can outsource to a virtual assistant, or if you want a real live assistant, you can get that as well. But there are opportunities like virtual assistants where these people live in other countries, like Taiwan or like the Philippines,
Where you are able to afford it also.
Absolutely.
Because let's keep in mind that we're in America here.
Yes, I know. And so you can outsource for $8 an hour, and they will answer your phones. They will respond to your customers. They will do emails. They will do all the marketing that you need. So you have to not be, I know that you want to be the MVP, but you can't be the only player on the team.
Absolutely not.
No, you're not going to be able to scale your business that way if your business only depends on you.
Especially if you want to have more streams of income.
Yes, absolutely. If you want to have more streams of income. And especially if the reason that you got into entrepreneurship in the first place is to have time freedom, but yet you're working 10, 15 hours a day, sacrificing sleep, sacrificing your health, just in order to keep your business afloat.
Absolutely.
No, you have to sacrifice, some financial aspects to outsource for $8, $9, $10, $15 an hour, whatever it is. Because now you're duplicating yourself.
So you would say this is not in the beginning stages, of course. In the beginning stages, that is the time to sacrifice and to get things into place and to kind of create a reputation also for your business. So when speaking to future entrepreneurs, when did that time frame come into play for you?
Yeah, so I think that after a year of being able to build up a reserve for your company, you should be able to outsource and duplicate yourself. And for some businesses, it could be 2 years. It just depends on their finances and what they're able to afford. But a lot of entrepreneurs, they start the business, but yet they're the only person in the business. So they sacrifice that part of not duplicating themselves because all of the income they want it for themselves versus paying their first employee or independent contractor. So those parts, you have to basically outweigh the risk and the benefits, right? So you risking burnout of your own business and possibly shutting your doors, because most businesses fail in the first 2 years, and they fail because that particular reason, because the CEO is burnt out doing everything, trying to stay afloat, and not expanding or utilizing, allocating those dollars to hire their first employee. So that needs to, be an aspect that you really evaluate in order to have a successful business.
Correct. So we dabbled a little bit about real estate and what that did for you, and that was your starting point. And I want to believe that was your first real business. once you started on your entrepreneurship journey?
Yep, that absolutely was my first company that I created, my real estate investment firm, and that really set the stone for me, becoming a full-time entrepreneur.
Oh, nice. And so for me, I know you personally. I have that honor and that luxury, so thank you.
Yes.
I wanted you to kind of tell them the different businesses that you have, because you're not just operating just on real estate. So tell them a little bit more about that.
Okay. So I am a serial entrepreneur. I have multiple businesses, and at the start of the pandemic, one of my real estate properties, it took several months to sell. And so I was telling myself, I said, okay, well, what can I diversify and not only put my eggs into real estate? How can I diversify my, my businesses? Mm-hmm. And so my husband, he came up to me and he said, babe, look at these slingshots. Like, they are really renting out like hotcakes. And I'm like, really? What is a slingshot? I didn't know what a slingshot is.
Neither did I.
Right. And then fast forward 3 months after that initial conversation, we end up starting a slingshot rental company here in South Beach. So the way that happened, some people don't know what a slingshot is. So let me explain what a slingshot is. It is a auto cycle, basically. It's created by Polaris, and it is a motorcycle that has 3 wheels, and you can drive it on the street. You don't need a motorcycle license in order to drive it. And it's like one of these hot toys that everyone wants to drive, because there's no roof, there's no doors, and it's just you and the open road. And so it's become so popular. And a lot of people, especially here in Miami, they're tourists. And so they are coming here specifically in order to have a good time. And so that particular business model makes sense here in Miami. And my husband, he saw that, and he saw how popular it was. And he's pretty good at, riding the wave up while it's going up. Mm-hmm. So so we actually dived right in. Honestly, we jumped right into the business. We used business financing, and in December, we were able to purchase 2 slingshots. So we financed them. We only used $1,500 down per slingshot. So it was actually very affordable for us.
Very affordable.
Yeah, very affordable for us to get into this business, because we only put $1,500 down. And then we put $500 down for our commercial insurance, and that was it. Literally, the next day, we rented out the slingshots for $400 each per day.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wait a second. 400.
Yes.
A day.
A day.
For one day.
Yes, for one day.
Christina.
Yes. For one day.
It's Nikki
yes.
you're talking to.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm dead serious.
So how many do you have now?
Yeah, so right now we scaled our business up to having 5 slingshots.
Incredible. That's generating someone's bi-weekly paycheck.
Yes.
In a day.
Yep. So we started that company December of 2020, and for the entire year of 2021, we generated over $365,000 just with that one business.
Wow.
Yep.
You're dropping gems here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I know you.
Yeah.
You guys are going to hear me say that a lot. You have a step-by-step guide as to how to start a slingshot business.
Yes.
Where did that inspiration come from? You could have kept that to yourself. But
absolutely.
You're giving it out to the world. Like, hey, come get some of this bread as well. So
I know.
Where did that come from?
Well, I love sharing, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whatever I have here in my mind, I just want to share it with others. I don't want to keep it in my mind. Mm-hmm. So I know how to start a slingshot business, and since it's so popular, it's very trendy, I'm like, well, other people should use this as a stream of income too. because there's other people that they use like Turo as a platform and they rent out their cars. So I'm like, what if they were to buy a slingshot and rent it out? They need to know the steps to take in order to get started with that. So I was very motivated to write an ebook on how to start a 6-figure slingshot business, because it's absolutely easy to start. You only need $1,500 down plus secure, insurance. And so I knew that anybody could start this type of business. And in order to have a 6-figure slingshot business, you only need 2 slingshots.
Also,
Yes.
you're making so much in one slingshot per day.
Yep.
Now, my question to you here is, sorry if it's an ignorant question, but how does the slingshot pay for itself? Because you said $400 a day. So
Yeah.
let's speak financing on 5.
Yeah.
Were you able to use, was it paying for itself essentially and more?
Yes, absolutely. So the way that we broke it down was, what we did was for the slingshot, it depends on what model you buy, but we bought the SL model, which cost $27,000. And so our monthly payments are about $600. So all in all, $600 plus insurance, we only need to rent out that slingshot 2 days out of the month in order for it to be fully covered.
Wow.
Yep, and we only need to rent it out 100 days in order for it to be fully paid off.
Wow, you got it down to the wire.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow,
yes.
wow.
So once we did the math made sense to us. And so that's why we began scaling the business from initially having 2 slingshots to now having 5 slingshots.
Now, I know that you put this on a particular platform. Go ahead and share with us the platform and then why, because I think it's so unique. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of people can kind of learn from just hearing the why behind it. I think the why is always important.
Yes. So the platform that I use in order to market the slingshot?
Absolutely.
Yes. So when it comes to the slingshot business, we do different marketing. We use Google, we use Facebook, we have independent contractors that are on South Beach posted in certain hotels, and they just work on a commission basis. And then we use Turo. We have 1 out of our 5 slingshots that are on the Turo platform, and we chose the comp plan that's an 85-15 split. And then we also use Airbnb Experience, which we absolutely love because our target audience or our target customers are tourists. We want to rent out to people that are coming into town and are looking for a good time. They want to go driving up and down Collins Avenue, having fun, and they want, an experience. So Airbnb Experience was a good platform for us to use in order to market our slingshots.
So you didn't just stop at slingshots, did you?
Absolutely not. When I say serial entrepreneur, I mean serial entrepreneur.
So let's take us on that journey, please, because I know that you also do the Forex trading.
Yes.
You're a mentor.
Yes.
You have your slingshots. You have Turo. You still make money while you sleep. Monetization. It's just so much. So please enlighten us, because there's so much.
Yes. So when it comes to the Forex is one of the largest financial markets in the world. And a lot of people, they've never even heard of Forex. It stands for foreign exchange market. And with this market, you have other financial markets. You have the stock market, which is $1 million market, or $1 billion market. You have the crypto market, which is $1 million market. You have the real estate market. So when it comes to the foreign exchange, you're dealing with, different currency pairs, different countries, and on a daily basis, over $6 trillion is being traded on this market every single day. So one of my companies is called Affix Financial. And what it does is it has certain investment plans. So we have a crypto investment plan. We have a stock market index fund investment plan, and then we have what you call Forex Automation, which is a Forex investment plan. And with this particular plan, what you're doing is you are opening up a digital wallet, you are opening up a brokerage with our particular brokerage company that we're partnered with, and you are creating a PAM account. With that PAM account, it's going to allow you to invest in the foreign exchange market 100% passively. So when it comes to Forex, like you've seen the charts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
those candlesticks.
Yes, exactly. It's like very, it can be very complex. Like if you take a look at a regular chart, it's up and down. It looks like a roller coaster, which can be very frightening.
And definitely intimidating.
Yeah. So our trading team, they say that on average it takes about 3 years in order to learn Forex, in order to really be a good trader. And what our goal is to leverage our trading team. So you have to leverage them. They have 14 years of experience, and what their job is to make us money, honestly. So on average, we've been doing double-digit returns. Like this month alone, we've done 42%. Last month, we did 51%. The month before that, 27%. So we are so conditioned to thinking that we can only get 10% a year, when in fact, you can make 100% a year, a 200, 300% a year. So you have to get out of that mindset of thinking, oh, well, I can only, invest in the stock market, or I can only invest in bonds or something like that and get a small return of 7 to 8% a year. Like those days are gone.
Way gone.
Yeah, exactly.
Way gone.
Exactly. On a yearly basis, you need to be making triple digits or more. And so the foreign exchange market can do that for you.
Well, I can attest to that because when I started my mentorship with you, I was in a really, I wouldn't say dark place, but I was at a pretty low place in my journey. And money was definitely something that was needed. So I needed to be able to bring in more money, and I invested $900. At the time it was $5. I was like, I have the extra, why not? Because I know that money would, the more money you put in, it's the more money that you get out.
Right.
So I want to believe that it was 3 weeks, almost a month. I would say, hey, I have a little extra here, add that in. So I put in a little over 900, and I was able to make what did I get, an extra 2,000 and change on that, rounding and making that all even to about $3,000. And for me to be able to withdraw that money when I needed it, and I did not work hard for it at all.
Right.
I didn't sweat, I didn't fuss, I didn't work not 1 hour for it, and it was incredible. That was my first experience in, what did they say, making money while you sleep.
Yep.
And it was incredible. I think I told everyone that I knew, like, hey, you need to join this, you need to join that. So tell them a little bit more about where they can find this if someone is interested, because I'm telling you, if you invest in this, you won't regret it. You won't regret it. I don't know any other platform that will give you an opportunity to make money where someone is only taking 10% a month.
Right.
So
that's very generous.
Very.
Yes.
And it is well worth it. And again, you investing in you is, there's no way that you can beat that. That is the best thing that you can do. Right. So if you can tell them where they can find it, and of course we're going to leave those links down below.
Absolutely. If you go to my website, ChristinaIvette.com, there's going to be a link that says Forex Automation, and there's going to be a registration form there. So if you're interested in this type of investment, then you can find the information there. So when it comes to the this type of investment, there is a performance fee, and you can start this account with $300.
That's the new one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I'm currently in that one as well.
Yeah, so it's only $300 in order for you to open up your account, and then it's going to quickly, honestly. It starts to double and triple in less than 2-3 months time. And there is a performance fee. The performance fee is 10% every single month, and the broker deducts it on the first of the month. So if you, let's say that and it's only on your profit. So let's say that you make $1,000 in profit in March, then on April 1st, the broker is going to deduct $100, which is 10% of the profit that you made, which is actually really good, because I've seen other companies that they do 80-20, 70-30,
50.
yeah, even
Yeah.
50-50. So they're taking 50% of your profit and just leaving you with the other 50%. But $900 out of $1,000 is,
You can't beat it.
No, it's a win-win.
You can't beat
It's a win-win. That 10% is the compensation for the trading team. They need to be compensated for doing the trades for us, for doing the heavy lifting.
And you know what's so interesting? There are people on social media, which I'm not saying that it's wrong, but they're charging up to $3,000 to just have a one-on-one mentorship on how to make money, or how to get into trading, or how to get into Forex.
Right.
Or they're saying, you know what? If you want to come in on my PAM account, you have to make a down payment of, or you have to invest $5,000 or $6,000. And what was so unique about yours was that it was affordable. You made it affordable so that people could get in there and they can go ahead and start, like you said, making that extra money while they're working their 9 to 5, and just having extra income. Who doesn't need extra income?
Everyone needs another stream of income. If you're just depending on one stream of income, you're doing yourself a disservice, honestly.
So I would say that out of all of the ventures that I've been on with you, that one was my absolute favorite. I don't know if you remember when I called you and my accountant said 3,000 plus. I was like, Chris, oh my God, I have $3,000. And I was like, I couldn't believe it. That day I broke out into tears. I was like, this is incredible. And it was literally the best investment that I have made. I've spent a lot of money in my time, whether it was wasted or it was for a good purpose, but that felt pretty damn good.
I know, I could only imagine. It's like money that you do not have to work for. Like, you can't ask for anything else.
You
honestly.
really can't.
You really can't. You really can't.
So let's talk about Turo.
Oh yeah.
Turo, how are you utilizing that platform?
Yeah, I absolutely love Turo. And a lot of people, if you have a car that's just sitting in your driveway, not doing anything, especially now with the pandemic, how a lot of people are working from home, like, you don't need to commute back and forth to work. So what you should be doing is renting your car on Turo. Turo is the Airbnb for cars, right? So if there's people that are coming into your town and they don't want to use a rental company, they can use the Turo platform in order to rent your car, and you get income from that.
And most times when you get in, you can't find a car.
Right.
It's either overpriced or they don't have it. So they're sold out.
Yeah, I know. The car rental community, they are having like extreme shortages. Like, everywhere that I've gone and seen, these cars, they're sold out all the time. So that's why Turo is a good thing, because it allows regular people like me and you in order to make side income. But yet we don't have to have, this big clientele list. It's just on demand. So the way I use it is, Turo is one of my streams of income. And I have 2 Mercedes and I have a convertible that I have on that platform, because I know that, like, for example, with the convertible, it's a Camaro. So I know that here in Miami, people, they want to rent convertibles. They want the top down, the sun just blazing on them, and, their hair blowing in the air. Like, that's the experience that they want to have when they come to town. So that's why I have that. I have a Jeep Wrangler that I rent on that platform, because I know that the people that are coming into this town, that's what they want. That's what they want to rent.
Absolutely. They're getting away from the snow. No one wants to be in New York right now.
Right.
No one wants to be up north.
I know. A lot of people are actually moving out of New York.
I know.
Yeah.
It is. I absolutely love New York.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, their winters are brutal. So
Yeah.
if you're from New York, I know that you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
So I don't blame them. I mean, I would rent your convertible.
Yeah.
I want to feel the heat. I want to feel the sun. Something outside of being cold all day long.
Right.
But I agree. Turo is a great platform, and you know what? It doesn't take a lot to start, and I'm so happy that you were able to elaborate on that also. But what was so interesting is when we were talking about my Turo journey, you did mention, hey, don't forget to turn your car into an asset. You should be putting that under your business name. You should be so kind of give them a little bit more information on that also.
Yeah. So when it comes to, business, like you need assets for your business. And in order for you to have the best tax advantages, it depends on obviously how you're taxed, but it depends on how you buy the assets. So for example, when it comes to Turo, if you buy a vehicle under your business, then if you purchase it, then you can write off the depreciation, right? But if you lease it, then you can write off 100% of the lease. So that is a strategy that I teach a lot of my mentees, that in order for you to basically have a win-win situation where you don't have to even pay for the car because you lease it for 24 months and you write off 100% of how much it costs you. Let's say it costs you 20 grand, and you rent it out for those entire 2 years and you generate 40,000. You just generated $40,000 on a free asset. That is a strategy.
Most definitely.
Yes.
And it's one that needs to be used more often.
It is.
Speaking. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
So that's what I tell a lot of my mentees. I'm like, do it this way because it makes more sense and it's more cost effective, and the IRS is actually on your side. It's working towards your advantage.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times the obstacle with entrepreneurship is the exposure.
Yeah.
We talk about that a lot, and it's honestly just putting yourself in a position to be open-minded, be receptive, do your work. You cannot have a business and not have research and not have education.
Right.
No one is saying that you need to go to the best college in the world or that you have to have had that background, but you definitely have to do the work in educating yourself and figuring out what's going to work best for you. Because what works for you doesn't work for me.
Absolutely.
And what works for me definitely doesn't work for you. So it all comes down to your lifestyle and what are your goals? What is it that you want to do? And I think that's so important with entrepreneurship is your identity also.
Right.
So in your journey, what would you say that kept you pretty solid in remembering who I am, not being sidetracked with social media and what everyone else is doing? You're not really, I want to know, do you often compare yourself, or are you pretty solid in who you are? And if you are, how are you doing that?
So what has kept me so grounded and so level-headed is how I start my day. It's really my morning routine, which has just really attributed to who I am today, honestly. Because I started meditating when I was in the darkest places of my life, honestly. Where, there was times where my utilities was getting cut off. Or, there was times where I couldn't pay my rent, right? And I use meditation in order to get me out of there, in order to change my environment. And I wasn't, it wasn't important to me what my environment was at that time because I knew where I was going. So meditation and clearing my mind of everything and being in complete silence has really shifted my life. Because before that, I would wake up and my days would be chaos. Honestly, I didn't have any type of direction. I didn't have a structure. I didn't have a path that I was, going down. So I would just wake up and boom, on social media, reading text messages, responding to emails, doing all this stuff. When in fact, what I really needed to do was be one with Christina. So once I started meditating, it was a game changer for me. And it honestly, my life was a 360. It really, really was. Because I had those 5-10 minutes when I started my day, before I ate breakfast, before I, dealt with the kids, before anything, started my day with that 5 minutes of silence where I'm just receiving the messages, where I'm getting that creativity, where I'm getting those ideas, that momentum, that motivation, and literally no activity, no noise, no clutter, nothing, clarity. That really, really, really changed my life. And the other things that I do in the midst of that, visualization. In order for you to get somewhere, you have to see yourself already there. So just like your GPS, you put in, 123 Main Street, you know exactly where you're going. So that's how you have to use visualization. You have to see yourself already as that person. And that's what I've been doing and practicing. And that's why I've experienced this 360 shift in my life. Because I see the Christina that's a philanthropist, that is a public speaker, that's an author. I see that woman every single day.
Nice.
So I'm already heading down that direction. So with the visualization, it's one of the key components that I practice on a daily basis that really, just attributes to who I am. And lastly is the affirmations.
Ooh,
I know.
such a good way to start a day.
Exactly. Those affirmations are so important. Like, you need to tell yourself, I'm beautiful. I'm physically fit. I'm intelligent. I am healthy.
I am wealthy.
I am wealthy. I am successful.
Yeah.
You need to talk to yourself that way. You need to condition your mind to receiving those type of compliments.
I love that word, condition.
Yes.
I love that word, condition, because we're so conditioned to, and I know so many people say it all over social media or all over different platforms, that we are so conditioned to working and then retiring. And I know that it's like a broken record, but honestly, it is the reality of where we are right now. Because some people have information overload, right? Or they're like imposter syndrome. I can't, I'm not worthy of, I can't. So it's so many negatives that is already there, that I personally believe that the beginning foundations of entrepreneurship is shifting your mindset.
Absolutely.
Reconditioning yourself to not get up and just, like you said earlier, do whatever it is that you want, but put yourself in a position to where you can then shift what it is that you want into your lifestyle. Right. Because entrepreneurship, personally for me, it's a lifestyle.
It is.
It's a lifestyle. You have to find balance. You have to know when to cut things off. You have to know when you need to put in more work. You have to know what works for you. it's so many different components that go into it, but the basis of it for me, the core of it, it's really just your mindset and believe, like what you believe in. You know, do you believe that you can accomplish it?
Right.
Do you believe that you're worthy of it? Do you believe that you deserve it? And do you believe that you can achieve it?
Yeah.
So it's just, those are the golden gems for me.
Right.
And that was such a difficult place to be in, not thinking that, you know, you can have a business. You can go after your goals. You can go after your dreams. And a lot of times people can sit around and talk about their dreams and what it is that they want to do, but coming out of that hurdle, taking the first steps, that's where it's like a true test.
Right.
You know, are you an action taker?
Right.
Are you just a talker?
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so
Exactly.
I definitely agree with that 100%. And it's so, thank you for sharing that, because I know
Yeah.
that that's also so personal.
Yeah,
Your
it
spiritual
is.
journey and the things that you do in private is also so personal. Well, I guess what I'm asking you is, for those that are out there, they're on this journey, right? They have the dream. They kind of have a vision of where they want to go, but they're trying to draw out the map, you know, how do I get there? What should I do first? You know, and I know at some point, if we're being realistic, you probably hit a few dead ends, you know, or you've probably made a few U-turns, you know. What did that look like? What was the lowest point for you in your journey for you to say, well, okay, I'm not gonna give up, I'm gonna keep pushing, or this didn't work, but I'm just gonna keep chugging on, because I know at some point you had to experience that. So I just wanted to kind of touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, so a lot of my motivation, it's fueled by my family. Honestly, I'm a very family-oriented person.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of the things that I do today, I do for my loved ones.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I dove into entrepreneurship is because I saw my parents struggle. And I did not want, I didn't want to continue to struggle, but I didn't want them to struggle anymore. So I wanted to take them out of that. And I knew that I was going to have kids. I didn't want my kids to struggle either. So I said, okay, there's something that I have to do in order to change the trajectory of my family, and in order to break those generational curses. Because like my mom, her mom was on Section 8, food stamps, government assistance. And so that trickled down to her. So growing up, we was on Section 8 and food stamps. And it was very challenging. And it was actually dark times. Those were like the lowest moments. We were like homeless, living in abandoned buildings. And I just knew that I didn't want that to be my future. And I didn't want my parents to struggle anymore. So that's why I got into entrepreneurship. Because I saw that as a way out.
Yeah.
Honestly. I wasn't going to conform with society, because I saw that society, they had like, a typical American dream, right? Which is you work 40 years, you retire with a pension or a 401k, and you collect the Social Security.
That is the American way.
Exactly. And so you have to retire at 65 years old. Where's the fun in that? Like, I don't see that as the lifestyle, like the ideal lifestyle.
Well, I even know a lot of retirees who have not just worked, but was in the military, served this country, and they don't even get the benefits that they deserve.
Right.
And their Social Security it's not conducive.
Right.
For them to just live. It's not even about a lifestyle. It's just not conducive. They're like struggling.
Right.
So,
I know even people that are retired, they have to get out of retirement in order to, you know, work at a grocery store to cover their insurance,
Get a
their
part-time
medical,
job,
right?
yeah.
Their medical insurance, their, you know, medications, things like that. Or it doesn't cover the bills.
And they still get taxed on that money. You come out of retirement because you need to still make more money. You still get taxed so much.
Right. Yeah. So I think that like we as individuals, we're brainwashed into thinking that the government is going to take care of us when we get old and when we're ready to retire. And that's the wrong way of thinking, honestly. So that's why I preach about financial independence. You have to be financially independent from the country too. You cannot be depending on the government when you're 65 to, you know, give you a check on the first of the month. It's just not going to work out because like right now, the baby boomers, they are getting ready for retirement, right? They're in their 60s, they're in their late 50s, and Social Security is not going to be around in 30 or 40 years when we are ready to retire. When we get to 60, 65, it's not going to be around. It's going to be non-existent. So that's why we need to reverse the way that we're thinking. We are brainwashed.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
I agree with that 100%. So what's interesting for me with your journey in particular is that we've touched on it earlier, which was so incredible, how you were into nursing.
Yeah.
And you were like, no, there's more for me. There's
Yeah.
more for me on the other side.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
coming.
yeah.
For me, it's so unique that you created this woman that you wanted to be.
Yeah.
And then you said, I'm not stopping there.
Right.
I need to teach my kids and I need to condition my kids. Because when you do certain lives and you do certain things on social media, I've noticed that you have your 10-year-old.
Yes.
He's investing.
Yes.
He has his money in the market already.
Yes.
Your other two children as well. So, I mean, where did that? I mean, obviously you said, you know, you didn't want the same for them, but how did you even come upon, you know, hey, I have to set them up? You know, usually it's, well, I'm going to make all the money and I'm going to leave a piece of land or I'm going to leave a house behind.
Right.
Or your will is a little bit different.
Yeah, so it all boils down to generational wealth. We all want to create generational wealth to leave to our children and their children. That's the goal, right? Because I hear this all the time, right? It's the talk on social media. And what confuses me is that we're so fixed on making money for ourselves to leave to our loved ones, right? To leave to our children, that we forget to do the most important thing, and we forget the fundamental principles, which are you need to have your child invested in the stock market already. You need to have them invested into real estate already. So there are certain vehicles that you can use in order to do that. There are custodial accounts. These custodial accounts are vitally important. If you are a parent and you don't have a custodial account for your child, you are doing your child a disservice, honestly.
But I think they're not exposed to the information, one.
Yeah.
And two, I think that the idea or the ideology around it is that, oh my God, you know, I have to invest 200, 300, 500, 1,000, 2,000. Or people are usually waiting until they have a bunk amount of change to do that. But
Right.
I started off my son with his Acorn account, and I was not in the best place in my life. And I
Right.
was doing $5.
Yeah,
I was
$5.
doing
That's
$5.
good. That's good. $5
And
is good.
I'm in a better place now where I can do 84 a week. And that's because also reflecting on my finances, taking out things that I don't need, also reducing expenses was also
Right.
so powerful for
Yep.
me with my mentorship with you. It's like, hey, you know, let's really talk about expenses.
Yep.
There's something that could be cut out here. You
Yeah.
know, your debt to income ratio is just all over. and not having that financial literacy and learning that through the mentorship was so incredible. So I would say that is like the best thing that you can give to your child.
Yes,
Not the
it
gifts,
is. Right.
not the big parties. I mean, that stuff is great too. Not telling you how to celebrate, you know, your children, but
Right.
for me, making those sacrifices and saying to myself, well, you know, if I just start him off now
Right.
at this age,
Yep.
oh my God, like that it takes, and it also takes a burden off of me.
Yeah.
You know, not knowing how am I going to pay my bills and then still find enough money to put aside for college.
Right.
Or what if he doesn't want to go to college? Or what if he wants to go to a trade school? What if he wants to travel? You know, just being able to give him that security as his mother, I feel incredible that I've even taken that step, because now if something ever happens to me, God forbid,
Right.
knock on wood, I know that he is taken care of.
Right. That is
And-
so true. That is so true. Like if something's to happen to us today, our kids already have these accounts and they're already going to be set,
Definitely.
because those investments are using compound interest in order to double, triple, and quadruple. So we're not going to have to even get to the point where we need to leave generational wealth, because they are already in the right investments that are going to create the wealth for them. So that's the best way to leave generational wealth, is create the wealth for your child already.
And it does not have to be out of your budget. That's the beautiful part about
Yes.
it. It doesn't have to be outside of your budget. So I think that this journey with entrepreneurship, you really have to dive deep and figure out, again, what's going to work. What's
Yeah.
going to work and how am I going to make it work?
Yeah.
Because I also know that with this journey, and we were talking about it earlier, it makes so much sense where you have to figure out how you're going to kind of deal with that money. What am I putting back into the business? What am
Right.
I investing? What's mine? Stuff like that. So now that you have so many streams of income, what would you say your advice would be to a new and upcoming entrepreneur that's probably almost right where you are?
Yeah.
How are you still maintaining that? Because you started off with just one business.
Right.
And at the peak of the pandemic, you were like, whoa, I need to do something else. And through a pandemic until now, it's only been about a year and some change.
Yeah.
And
Almost two.
Almost 2 years, and we're still in the pandemic.
Yes.
And now you've acquired multiple businesses. So
Right.
how are you now kind of dealing with that? Putting money aside, doing this, doing that. And when I say this and that, I mean, you're gonna have more goals, I'm assuming, you know, and how are you kind of keeping that control, not overspending? Because I do know that's the core of my question, honestly, because I do know that once you start making more money, sometimes you're like, oh, I can afford this now, you know, and oh, I can do that. And I feel like a lot of times you end up in debt because you overspend, you know, and it's still, again, with that conditioning, not because you're making more money means that you have to just kind of be wild with that money, but at the same time it's yours, so you do as you feel. But with you've done such a good job at, you know, kind of keeping everything in order, because I know that you do also teach financing through your mentorship. So
Right.
do you want to touch base on that just a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of my core principles, right, which is actually one of the laws of wealth, is you get to keep part of what you earn, right? So like we get paid, right? As an employee, we get paid bi-weekly, right? So that paycheck that you get from your employer, not all of it goes to Uncle Sam. Not all of it goes to bills. You have a portion of your money that is for you. And what are you going to do with it? You need to save it. So one of the laws to wealth that I live by is save 10% of your income. So I save at least 10% of my income. And what I do with it is I invest it. That's what I was doing from my nursing days. investing my money with every single paycheck. So, it's important for you to have this on autopilot as well. When you are saving, you need to make it super easy. So when it comes to you having your employers and stuff, all these different types of direct deposit direct deposit companies, right?
Mm-hmm.
All of those companies, they give you options. They say, okay, where do you want, 25% of your paycheck to go? Where do you want 100% of your paycheck to go? So you need to set it up to where 10% of your paycheck goes to a savings account or a money market account or straight to your brokerage account. And you never see it.
You don't even notice it.
You don't even notice it. And then 90% goes to your checking account. And that's where everything is deducted from.
Mm-hmm. Because for people that are not in the entrepreneur realm, when you're working and you have to pay your bill, your phone bill, your car note, and all that, if you're not paying yourself, you're just a consumer. You're just a consumer, because then everyone else is like, Christina, I need you to go out and have a job.
Yep.
I need you to work. I need to look at what it is that you're earning, because I need money for my car, and I need money for that roof that's over your head, and I need money for, so honestly speaking, I find it so hard to believe that a lot of people get paid and they don't actually put that money away. You don't say, well, okay, I've been working for, 80 hours? I've been working 80 hours.
Right.
And you telling me that none of that money belongs to you.
That's insane.
But it happens. And I think that we also have to come out of that mindset of just being a consumer.
Right.
And I want people to also start getting into the mindset of, okay, I'm at a job, but treat it like it's your business. Start practicing. Treat it like it's your business. What is my profit for my 80 hours? And it's all down to mindset and how you perceive or how you view things. So it's so incredible that you still had that balance even before becoming an entrepreneur. So I would want to think that was really incredible for you, having that prior to where you are now.
Right. I started from the beginning, honestly. I started saving very early on because, like I said earlier, I have been working since 14 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So from 14 years old, I started saving. And by the time I was 18, I had thousands of dollars. So I wish that I would have started investing early on.
Mm-hmm.
I wish that, my parents had a custodial account for me, but that's not my reality.
Mm-hmm.
My reality is that I saved and saved and saved, and then I invested, put my money in the right vehicles, used asset allocation to diversify my portfolio in order for me to, to grow my wealth.
So what's next for Christina?
Well, what I'm looking forward to absolutely is writing a book. I think that is the next step for me, honestly. I've been thinking about it, and I think that being an author is on my path. I want to write a book for female entrepreneurs that need basically that motivation. It's not easy starting a business, and it's not easy starting a business as a woman, honestly. And women, they need to hear it from other women that it's absolutely possible, that you just got to put your big girl panties on, mm-hmm. and then just get out there and do it. They need that fire. And they need to hear it from another woman, honestly. Mm-hmm. I don't think that it's going to be that effective if they hear it from a man. So there's not that many female entrepreneur motivation books out there. So that's what I want to do.
Well, I think that's incredible. I think that's incredible, and I think that the fact that you share so much and you pour into your mentees and even people that you do business with,
Yeah.
I think that will definitely be a book that I'm gonna buy.
Thank you,
Definitely,
thank you.
because I mean, just the journey with you has been very rewarding. Sometimes I sit back and I say to myself, why is she so nice? Honestly speaking, I do find that a lot of people that has wealth, it's a secret. It's like, no, I don't want to share it. I'm going to keep this to myself. I worked really hard to be here. But I think that is life, and I think that's how you get to give back.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't always have to be financial, but just passing that baton on, and I think that's incredible. But definitely writing a book.
Yeah. I know.
Let's do it.
Yes.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
When does it come out? When does it launch?
You know what? I'm going to start this year. I'm going to start writing the book this year,
Yeah.
honestly. So I don't know how long it's going to take me.
Yeah.
It might be a couple months, maybe 6 months. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I know that I do have a lot to share, honestly. And I'm here to help. So, any woman that picks up the book and reads it, they are going to get those fundamentals. Everything that I've learned the hard way, I'm just going to put it in the book so that they don't have to, take the hard road. They can take the easy road.
Oh my gosh. I listen, I'm always up for taking the easy road. I know that that's not always the answer, but
Right.
honestly speaking, what more could you ask for?
Right.
If it's, don't reinvent it if it's not broken.
Yeah.
So I have to ask.
Yeah.
You were married
Yeah.
and you do business with your husband.
I do.
That is sometimes unheard of
I
or
know.
impossible.
I know.
And it's so it's admirable. You have your own identity.
Yep.
You have your own businesses.
Yep.
And you still do business together.
Yep.
Now, I'm not too concerned about what the businesses are, but you have to just tell all. How do you keep the balance? I can only imagine that sometimes can be so overwhelming or annoying or frustrating. So please definitely share some gems with us on that.
Yeah. So, you know what? Honestly, it's easy.
Really?
It is. It's easy. And the reason I say that is because we have different roles. So you know how in a marriage you have the husband, you have the wife, and you have different roles, right? He takes out the trash and I cook dinner, right? Well, in business, it's the same way. We have different roles. So I'll do like all the financing and all the books. He'll do like, all of the people management and all of the delegation. And I don't cross over onto his things that he do in the business, and he doesn't tippy toe on the things that I do in the business because we have different roles. And if there are areas in the business where I need help, I just consult with him and I ask him, hey, look at these numbers, look at this, payment to, the insurance company, whatever it is. We consult with each other on our different departments. So like I'm like basically he's like the human resources department and I'm like the finance department.
Okay.
And it works. It works, honestly. And when it comes to business, you want to be with a business partner that you guys are in sync. You're in alignment. You see the same vision for the company. You don't want to be with a business partner that there's a lot of rejection, there's a lot of retaliation, or you guys are just not flowing down the same direction, right? So that's why it works. Like it works in our marriage and it works in our business life too. And we don't really mingle them together. Like when I'm on business mode, I don't look at him like, oh, hubby-dubby kind of thing. No, absolutely not. It's like, these are the numbers and it needs to be executed. And that's it. And he respects that. And that's what I appreciate about him. And vice versa. When he needs something to be done, it's not, he doesn't look at me like, oh, I'm his wife. He looks at me like, you're my business partner, you need to get it done. Like there's a contract, get it done. So that's why we've had so much success in the last, 6 years.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Absolutely.
So what you're basically saying is learn how to control those emotions.
Yes.
When it's business, keep it business.
Yep.
And when it's personal, keep it personal.
Mm-hmm. You know how they say separation of church and state?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is.
It applies.
Yes, it really does.
You're gonna put
separation of marriage and business.
You're gonna put that on the t-shirt.
Yes.
I feel it coming right now.
I know, right? I gotta capitalize off that.
Okay. So, when we first started on our journey,
Yeah.
I was like in a horrible place. And for those of you who don't know, this is actually my mentor, and this is the first episode of my podcast.
Yeah.
And I was so happy and pleased to do it with you because you knew how much this meant to me and how much of a dream and how much I needed to accomplish it, because the goal of this podcast really is to expose more people of color.
Yes.
And it doesn't really matter what part of the world you're from, as long as you are a person of color. It is my duty to definitely present that to the world more often. I want our children to see people of color succeeding.
Yes.
I want I want the millennials. Well, they're doing a wonderful job.
They're
not
killing
that
it.
they need me.
No, they're killing
But
it.
I definitely want to expose more entrepreneurs who don't have the opportunity to speak on a platform, promote their business, talk about what it is that they do, talk about what it is that they're doing for the community. So I just want to thank you so much for giving me this opportunity also.
Thank you for having me, honestly. Like I love this. I love being on this podcast. It's just a wonderful opportunity, but like this space that you've created just now, like it is absolutely phenomenal. Honestly,
Thank you.
Really is. It's phenomenal, and it's going to do wonders for the community because we need this.
Thank you.
We really do. We need this. There's space for it, and just plug yourself right in.
Yeah, because I mean, well, we've talked about this a whole lot, and it was like, okay, we take our kids to the store.
Yep.
There's no dolls that look like them.
Right.
There's no books about people that accomplished a lot outside of our history.
Right.
And if there are, whenever there is exposure of people of color in entrepreneurship, it's so limited.
Yeah.
And I just want to shatter that glass. I want to shatter that glass to smithereens.
Yeah.
And I definitely want to show them that this is something that you can do anything you want to do.
Right.
There is no limit, not even the sky, not even the clouds. It's whatever you want it to be.
Right.
So again, thanking you so much for this opportunity also. And I just lastly want to talk about your mentorship.
Yes.
And I want you to go ahead and let everyone know what it is that they can get out of that program, where they can find it, how they can get in contact with you, and how they can sign up. Because for me, my why for the mentorship, going back to what I was saying earlier, I found you on a social media post.
Yeah.
Walking, enjoying beautiful Miami, talking about how you're a mom and an entrepreneur, and that stood out for me because I'm a new mom. And oh man, I'm a new mom, and I feel like it is so important for me to be the example for my son. Yeah. And I wasn't gonna cry, but I'm crying.
Yes, I know.
And to be the example for my son, I know. And we have had such a difficult beginning.
Yeah.
And that's okay, because we have an entire lifetime to kind of create the world that we want.
Absolutely.
So for me, joining the mentorship was honestly, okay, you're doing it. You're doing exactly what I want to do. You know, and that is being a boss, having freedom. As a single mom, that's the one thing that all single moms need.
Right.
The freedom to be there for your child, because it's not a two-parent home.
Right.
And this is getting a bit personal, but it's okay, because I do feel like it is something that it is worth investing in.
Yeah.
So getting a mentor wasn't just for, you know, the show, like, oh, I have a mentor.
Right,
you know,
right.
It wasn't for bragging rights, but it was, what is it that you have that I don't have? What it is that you know that I don't know? And that was so important for me, because it has propelled me. And it's just been incredible. So enough crying,
Oh.
enough watery eyes, but if you can tell them where they can find you and
Yeah.
what to expect in the mentorship,
Absolutely.
and that would be really incredible, because I think it is the best investment that you can make.
Yeah. So if you don't have a mentor, you need to get a mentor, honestly, right away. Because everyone, no matter what stage in life you are in, you need a mentor. So me, myself, I had many mentors. Majority of them were in real estate. Some of them were male, some of them were female. But what I wanted, my goals, I knew that my mentor could get me there 10 times faster, because they were already there. So in my mentorship, I offer a 12-week mentorship where we are diving in the first 2 weeks, and we are tackling mindset. We are tackling mindset because it's so important when it comes to that formula for success. And after we dive into the mindset, then we start working on the other aspects of your life. So we get into, Jesus, I'm drawing a blank. Hold on, let me try to remember. Okay.
So you can probably start back where you said,
Yeah.
the 2
Mindset.
weeks. Yeah, mindset.
In this mentorship, we have a 12-week program where we dive in week by week into different aspects of your life to get you into that entrepreneurship. So in week 1, we work on mindset. In week 2, we work on credit, we work on manifestations, and we also work on establishing a business. In the following weeks, we start working on entrepreneurship. So you create a business, either an LLC or an S Corp. Then you start, you get an EIN number, and you start building business credit. Once you have business credit, then we start working on the other components. So we start getting you business financing. Once you're done with that, then we start getting you into investing, because investing is so vitally important. So we start working on other streams of income, because at the end of your mentorship, the goal is for you to have multiple streams of income. 1, for you to have a business. 2, for you to have that clear mindset of where you're going. 3, for you to know the type of tools that you need to use in order to manifest this beautiful life that you want. And then you need to have those financial tools. So as far as the investing, we dive into the foreign exchange investing, we dive into the crypto investing, we dive into the index fund stock market investing. And then after that, we transition into other streams of income. It could be, we start talking about real estate and the Toro platform and other aspects that you can use in order to have multiple streams of income. So a lot of my mentees have had astronomical amounts of success. They have had multiple streams of income in a short period of time. And I absolutely love it. Honestly, I love being a mentor, and I'm not gonna stop. Yeah.
And you do an incredible job.
Thank you.
Yeah, you do.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I did not want to leave this podcast without mentioning that because of the impact that it had on me.
Yeah.
And if there is an opportunity for me to help someone else or just give them the knowledge that they need, then why not?
Right.
So they might not get it through me, but there is a program that is affordable and that is, you know, at your exposure. It's just up to you. You want to take the first steps? Do you want to be an action taker or do you want to be a talker?
Yep.
So one thing that I can say about entrepreneurship is that it does not work for the lazy. It does not work at all. You have to want it. You have to go out and get it. And you have to be determined. You definitely have to be determined. This was an incredible talk. We're not done just yet.
Oh, yeah?
So no, not at all. So we talked about your different streams of income, and we talked about self-care.
Yes.
We talked about being a wife.
Yep.
We talked about being a mother. We definitely talked about kind of where you were in your journey and where you are now. So there was something that we went over in my mentorship that was oddly weird, and it came to fruition. And it was, I don't know if you remember, it was like every day I needed to write my chief end goal.
Yes.
That blew my mind.
Yes.
Because in 2021, I said that I wanted to be in the state of Florida.
Yes.
And what is today? January the 29th.
Yeah.
And where am I?
In Florida.
Here in Florida, living
Yes.
in Florida. And where did that come from?
Right.
I've always wanted to ask you that. This is the perfect time for me to do so because I just, it's so powerful.
So, I'm a bookworm, and I'm just constantly always reading books. And the chief aim goal is a principle that I learned from Napoleon Hill in his book, Think and Grow Rich. And he says that in order for you to have success, you need to have a worthy goal. And that worthy goal needs to be an obsession. It needs to be a passion, but it needs to be an obsession. You need to be obsessed with that one goal. I understand that you want 100 different goals, right? You want 100 different things, but you can't make that 100 different goals. It's impossible. You have to choose one goal. One goal only. And that has to be your chief aim goal. And once you accomplish that chief aim goal, then you can move on to another goal. But one goal at a time. And so that's why he has an exercise in the book that has, that you create a goal card. And so I walk around with my goal card everywhere.
I took it to the gym. I remember you called me like, you have your card? I'm like, yeah, it's in my gym bag.
Yeah.
I took it to school. I took it, I had it in my car, in the pocket corner of my car. And I was so into doing it. I never really took the time out to ask, but I definitely wanted to touch on that. And that's incredible that you carried that along.
Yeah, absolutely. So like for the people out there, if you have a chief aim goal, or if you have one goal that you're working on, or let's say you have 5 goals, right? Consolidate those 5 goals into one goal. And then write that one goal on an index card. And carry that index card with you everywhere you go. The grocery store, in the car, not in the shower, but everywhere you go. If you're going to church, if you're going to work, wherever you are, carry that goal in your pocket, in your purse, in your wallet. And as soon as you accomplish that goal, then you switch it out for the next one. But that is just going to be able to bring you 10 steps closer to your goal because you're constantly seeing it.
And thinking about it.
But you also have to read it out loud twice a day. In the morning when you wake up, at night before you go to bed. So those are fundamental exercises that I teach all of my mentees. But I'm not going to teach you something that I'm not doing myself. So I've been doing it for years. And it's so important, even though it may sound silly, right? Does it sound silly?
At first, remember I had the hardest time with meditation and kind of getting myself centered, and also just kind of quieting those voices in my head. I was like, oh, you can't do it, you can't do it. So in the beginning, all of it, from beginning to end, it felt like, oh my God, Christina, what am I doing?
Right.
But the more that I did it, I found myself in a better place. I found myself loving on myself more. My energy changed. My outlook on what it is I could achieve changed.
Manifesting too.
That's what it comes down to.
Yes.
And then when it comes to pass, it feels so rewarding.
Yes.
Do you remember when I got my car?
Yes.
I was like, Christina.
Yes.
I got my car.
Yes.
And it wasn't that I've never had a vehicle before, but it was just the fact that I manifested it.
You manifested
and
a brand new car.
Within a month's time,
Yes.
I'm like, what the heck?
It's in fruition.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
And it just became one after the next,
But
you know.
But like looking back, like was it easy?
In the first stages of it, no. In the first stages of it, it wasn't easy because I was in a war with myself. And I had someone on the other end believing in me more than I believed in myself.
Right.
So that's what made it hard. I think had I already had that confidence, it would have been easier.
Yeah.
So personally speaking for myself, no, it was not for that particular reason.
Right.
However, once I was able to just kind of do that, it was incredible.
Right.
I still do it now.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. And you know what? Once you start practicing and walking that way, you're going to continue to walk that way. Honestly.
And it's almost like you need it.
Yes,
you know?
you have to, right?
Yeah.
It's like drinking water. It's like you want that refreshing feeling. You want that, that difference, that energy.
Incredible.
Yes.
Thank you so much for just tuning in and sitting in and chatting with me. And
thank you for having me. This podcast was an amazing experience, amazing opportunity. And I'm so glad that you chose me as your first.
Of course.
Yeah.
I could not wait, and I also was so excited for other women to see another woman
Yes.
become an entrepreneur at 31.
Yep.
And it's so important for me to share it also. So thank you for allowing me to share your story. And thank you for sharing what you did share, because you don't have to.
Right.
And I'm so happy that you were open-minded about doing it also, because I just want women, men, children, it doesn't matter. I just want them to see that it is possible.
Yep.
There is more than one way to make it, and that through it all, I just want them to understand how important it is to just be true to yourself in your journey also.
Absolutely.
So I'm just so happy
Thank you
that you were here. And
yes, I'm happy too. I'm super excited.
yeah, so we're going to leave her information down below so you all can check out Christina's website, see what she has to offer. If there was anything that you wanted to take away from the podcast, it's going to be right down below. We're not leaving anything out. Again, the goal is for you to get the information and use the information. So we're rooting for you, and we want you to win. We want to see you at the top. So thank you so much for tuning into Dreams to Reality, and we will see you in another episode.